Yeah.
Okay, and we are live. So, a warm welcome to each and everyone. This is Phil from Let Us Talk It, Zipinar. So, we do this webinar every Wednesday, 12 noon to 1 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And this is an initiative made possible by Cogent Integrated Business Solutions. So, they're an IT company based in Detroit, Michigan, and they wanted to give back to the community. So, they have thought of giving back to the community through free knowledge sharing. And this is how this platform was created. And we call this Zipinar as we try to zip in two topics in one session. Today is special, and we only have one topic today, but it's a very a fascinating topic to talk about. And our guest speaker is not a new speaker, but a returning speaker of free will, definitely. Very willing to share his best practices and his work into this platform. And we are very glad about that matter. And also, if you're interested in becoming a guest speaker or joining as a guest, you can check us out on Facebook, on LinkedIn, and on YouTube as well. You can let us know if you wanted to join this initiative and give back to the community and impact the world through free knowledge sharing. So thank you so much for those who have joined Zoom. You can ask your questions to our guests definitely through chat, or you can raise your hand. And for those who are watching live, stay tuned and enjoy this topic that our guest speaker has prepared for us. And for this topic, this is titled, Can AI Replace User Research? So, the ethical dilemma or collaboration. So, this is a very trending and timely topic, and also a thought provoking talk. So, along with our speaker, we will explore whether AI can truly replace traditional user research, or if it should be seen as a collaborative tool. As AI becomes more integrated into design processes, ethical concerns arise, so ranging from bias to loss of human empathy. So, we will examine real world scenarios, limitations of data driven insights, and the irreplaceable value of human context. So, in this session, invites designers, researchers, and technologists to reflect on the future of UX, where the goal is not replacement but responsible collaboration between human intuition and machine intelligence. And to talk about this topic is the CEO, co-founder at Experts Desk, UX strategist, mentor, teacher at Beacon House National University and ComSat's National University. All right, so please help me welcome uh, our guest speaker, Zulkarnain Ansari. We can call him Zain as he prefers to be called by that name. And feel free to raise your hand again or put your questions in chat to interact with our speaker. And here is Zain. Hello, Zain. Thank you so much for accepting our invitation to be doing a guest speaking again.
It's a pleasure to be here again.
All right.
Okay.
Thank you so
Uh,
much,
so,
Zain.
so thanks
So,
for having.
yes, okay, go
Yeah.
ahead.
Yeah, so thanks for having me on this very interesting topic. The reason of this topic is when I started in the universities where I normally teach and taught about the UX, UI process of the UX. There are a lot of questions about the AI. Would AI replace our jobs? Will AI replace the UX practices? AI replace the UI or the design part? So everyone is taking the AI as a threat. That's the one thing. So let me start with the one thing. Uh, when there was the invention of the bookkeeping, the writing, people start to write something. So in the early Greeks, the philosophers, they had a discussion that this is wrong, that we are actually we have a great memory, and that human beings have the problem with their memory. With the invention of this writing, because when people used to write things, they start to forget things. They had this understanding that we have write something and we don't have to remember now. And what they were actually saying, it was true. It impacted in our memory. But uh, the question is, um, did those scholars have the problem? Their jobs were met out or not? So they actually changed. So there are lots of examples of the machine invention, press machine, printing press machines, or the invention of everything, where people have a problem with the new inventions based on the threat of the job, uh, ending of the jobs. So the thing is, every time, and the same goes here with the AI, that there is no threat with the jobs of the upcoming jobs, where would be the new jobs. So the new normal would be maybe abnormal for the few people that would be using of the AI or without using of the AI. So you have to transform your existing jobs just like every other job. And those who will not use the AI, they will definitely have this threat. So you have to start using it and use it as a collaboration, as a partner, and use those features for you. And that's the one part. Maybe many of the audience treated my this sentence as opinion. So I would make this turn this opinion into proper facts and figures with my session. So let me share my screen with the um, for this session. So when you will able to see the screen, to let me know.
Yes. Visible?
Okay. Okay, perfect. So the topic, like I already mentioned, and the host of this session already introduced a bit about it. So AI, UX, and ethical designs. Can AI replace the user research? So we have four terms here. So we have I have a small audience in my room as well, so maybe I'm not able to see throughout 100% over the camera. So user research is about the practices of understanding the problem solving method and methodologies of the process. So I am repeatedly saying the definition, the right definition of the process is, there are five principles. The one core principle of the UX is you have to understand about the problem. So what the problem is all about. So when you talk about the problem, is it a root cause of the problem or it is a symptom of the problem? Because if you try to solve the symptoms of the problem, the root problem will still stay. If you solve the root problem, the symptoms of the problem automatically disappear. So identification of the right problem is the first task of the UX. And the second task, and you have to understand that because it is very much relevant that where AI cannot help us and where AI can help us. So identification of the right problem, that is based on the data or based on the quantitative or qualitative identification of the user, the people who are suffering with that problem. So when you have to talk about the people, it's not just a one uh, type of the user. It's a people who are involving with the problem, who may be facing that problem, or who may be creating that problem, or who may be associated with the person who is facing the problem or creating the problem. So it's a complete ecosystem. That's the second layer. The third layer is now, where is the touch point where the user is facing the problem? So if we are making a hospital management system, so maybe the patient has no issue with the doctor or the receptionist desk or taking the laboratory tests or pharmaceutical. So the problem might be with the injections, the problem might be with the pharmacy, the problem may be. So that is a particular touch point. And the fourth part is to identify the possible solutions. And in that part, you have to understand that my solution is not the only solution. That is the way to move around with this iterative method of the UX. And the last part is iteration. Like I mentioned, you get the real user feedback. And based on their feedback, you iterate. So these are the five steps of the process of the UX. And now, what is AI? So artificial intelligence just basically work with the data, all the information around in the cloud, in the computers. So all the data with their context, where people start creating the machine learning and artificial intelligence. Not now, it's a very method 30, 40 years back, they started working on it. So all of those data, when they start compiling it, now they have the ability that based on that data, they can come up with the suggestions or predictions, or they can work with you as your assistant. um, at the same time, you can utilize the AI as your agent, the agentic AI. So all of these information are based on the data and the process, and that process as a in a large learning model LLM. So that's a part of the AI. So that's a clear part. It is working with the data, which means that data and that process assign with the quantitative metrics of the UX. However, AI is not very well in the qualitative matrices, the human behaviors, how they work. Its prediction is based on the data, and data is biased sometimes. And AI start training itself with a biased user sometimes. And I will gonna share you explain it in a later. So just a summary of these two terms. And the last part of this is ethical design. So what are the ethical designs? So to understand the theory of brightness or a positive, you first have to understand the darkness. You have to understand about the negativity. So the opposite of the ethical design is unethical design. So what is the unethical design? Unethical design is where you are not designate your creativity to solve the problem of the user, but you are trying to incorporate business everywhere. And intentionally or unintentionally, you hide certain information. Your design is not transparent. If you are trying to book something, you have to purchase something. Your user, you have to sell something for the user, and user is going to purchase something, and there would be mentioned $8 per month. And when the user start buying it, you mentioned a little smaller text that yearly subscription you have to buy for the 12 months, or you mentioned that the $8 per month is after the if you use for the 24 months. Otherwise, it would be $12 a month. So these are not the transparent information or way around. It's not solving the problem of the user. You should be transparent on the things, and you should be work on. So these are some of the unethical designs. Also, if you uh, turn off the switch of the lights, then and on just turn on the one switch, which means you are directing your user to one direction. Wherever you have to make the user complete control, so they can choose the information how they want to use it and how they want to choose it. So if you're not giving that portion or option, this is unethical design. And one more example of the unethical design is you try to steal the information of the user to your interface. So the ethical design is where the user have the full control, the user have the complete accessibility, the user have the error omission option. I would suggest you should practice. I'm sure most of your users already understand the heuristic evaluation process of the heuristic evaluation HE of the websites or audit for the UX or the process or the services or the products. However, in the detail, if you learn all the audit practices, you will understand that these are the practices for the ethical design. And after understanding all of these information, so can AI replace the user research? So quick intro is why this matter? Because everyone has this uncertainty and a complexity and a fear about the AI. And then we can collaborate with the AI in the UX process. And there are some limitations that we're going to explain in the next slides. And let's start with the next slide. Okay. So about me. Now, the host already introduced a bit about myself. So in the detail, I'm Zulkarnain Ansari. You may call me Zen. I have 2 decades of experience. So since 1999, I'm in the field. I had done BCS, Bachelor in Computer Sciences, then Master in Computer Sciences, and I have double masters. I have 70 plus certifications, which include Stanford University Human-Centered Design practices. I have also done the IDEO Human-Centered Design certification. I had completed multiple certification in the uh, development field and the design field. Since 2005, I shifted from development to the design. And from there onward, I completely worked with design, and I own the company. That name is Experts Desk with my co-founder Taiba. and we had aligned this experts desk as a design-oriented firm where we focus customer centric operations, so they can have the benefit in their business, and we'll do all the design practices. And we have a team of the UXers, and first UX design studio in Pakistan, established in 2001. And this is about the history and about myself. Okay, so now I'm going to tell you about a bit about user research. In the first slide, I missed that part intentionally because I wanted to provide this in the details. So it's about empathy. Many of my students or professionals ask me that if we have to implement the UX in any of the field, from where we should start it. And my answer always is you should start with the empathy. And empathy is not try to sell something with your solution, that you made something, a product or a service, and now you are trying to find the people who have that problem. Instead, you have to identify the problem and then try to find out the people. So it is about the empathy, not the data. And that empathy is about the emotions. Those emotions are qualitative, and those qualitative emotions you should cover with the users. And that is where AI cannot help you. You can get the outline, you can get the quantitative operations or data from the AI, but you have to drive your user research with the real user, all the complete qualitative matrices. You must learn and understand the human stories to uncover the why, not just what, because AI can explain you what. But if you start to asking the AI about the why, I will provide you some case studies where it answers wrong. So the why factor, you must attach humanly emotions through heart. And that is when you understand the uncover the question of the why, then your user research starts shaping the meaningful and inclusive designs. So this is about how user research should work in core and classic traditional UX way. And AI in the UX today. So there are certain tools like ChatGPT, there's AI, Dovetail AI, UiZerd, Maze, which reshaping the workflows. And there are other tools. There was, I think, UX sketching tool where you upload sketch and it come up with the designs. There is a Lovable. There are lots of AI tools are there to help you design. My question is about the UX. Okay, you have for the brain mapping, Miro has the AI, FigJam has the AI. ChatGPT itself, its paid version provided you. Now you have other tools as well. You have Gemini. You have from everywhere we're getting a new AI tool almost every month or every couple of months. So these tools again come up for the based on the data, and you can utilize that quantitative AI tools for your quantitative user research. So you can utilize UI um, for the journey mapping documentation, empathy mapping documentation, persona documentation after your user research qualitative. And then um, replacing the insights with the automation, that's a big question mark, because that automation can utilize in the matters where AI can help you. So this is based on, again, data. So promises of the AI in the user research. What does they actually promise? So AI speed up the data analysis. There are lots of hours taken where you provide where you get the information from the user, make the diary, and based on that diary studies, you start documenting, make compiling of the personas, compiling of the mapping. All of these efforts and hours of efforts will be drilled down and sum up less reduced when you have a qualitative metrics. Another thing, why you need that qualitative metrics, because you need that human emotions as an observation part, where you observe at the human. And AI has its biasness. There is a complete slide for the biasness where I can show you what kind of biasness we have here for the AI. AI come up with the motifs. They have a patterns, and then what AI did, identifying the patterns. Then based on that patterns, it compiled a motive. Based on that motive, it compiled with the sub pattern. If AI has the data of the biased user, AI start the motives of the biased, and it come up with the answers of the biased information. So there are lots of examples about the generation, about the gender, about the one gender needs some different advice, the other gender need a different advice. And if you didn't mention that part, it start come up with the biased information because it is trying to solve you based on the data, not based on the emotions or not based on anything else. And then we have the ethical dilemma. The ethical dilemma is that you have to understand the AI biases, that who actually developed the AI, who trains the AI, and what biases are hidden in the data. So if your training model is based on a particular data, or it's all the data around the world, around the globe, that there are lots of biasness inside the data. So there's a one exercise in the UX which you mentioned, the empathy mapping. In the empathy mapping, you have a particular division of the data where you understand that this information is users, where users see the information, where user saw something, where user heard something, or tell something, but they act differently. And what they were doing, you have to document that part. Also, you have to put your observations that I think, and you understand that this is my assumption, or my co-creators, my stakeholders, they think. All of these thinking should be into the assumption. So empathy map is where you segregate the biases from the data. It is manual. You cannot do that part for the AI because there would be another biasness appears. Also, you have to come up. There is an exercise in the UX which we called assumption mapping versus hypothesis, where you document all the assumptions which you have or a stakeholder have, and then you have a user data as well. Now, based on the user data, it's a scientific approach where you compare the data assumptions from the hypothesis. We call it a pH value, and based on that pH value, there will be the number of each assumption. The more assumption, the more top selected assumptions will pass the hypothesis test, and then you have to test with the user based on that past information. Other will be omitted. So that information cannot, you cannot rely AI for that particular exercise. There are other exercises as well. There is another question that is the informed consent possible when the AI scraps the user behaviors silently? Because the user has the two options we have in the user research based on the data. One is the user behavior and one is user attitude. So the data or heat maps or all of this information can come up when you see the user's information based on their attitude, but what their behavior is. So they behave based on their what they have in their mind, and they're doing based on their limitations. Maybe that's ecosystem pressure, maybe some religious pressure, maybe some discrimination pressure. So that is the information. You will get the answer of the why. You cannot get all the information from AI, these kind of information. And the last part is, could all the necessary information or the right people to whom you are designing with, the mainstream and extremes. So AI don't understand the extremes. They understand the mainstreams. And the principle of the UX says, if you cover the extremes, you will cover the mainstreams. And it is not possible for the AI to answer the why part, that why these are the extremes. They always come up with the what. And that is the possible issues with the ethical dilemma we have with the AI. What AI misses. So AI can't understand the emotions, tones, and cultural nuance of the human, that why they take the decision. And the human behavior is sometimes irrational. And AI depends on the predictability. So that irrationality of the one user can come up with the your business loss, a complete product problem, or a loss. So AI can build opinion based on the data, and you have to come up with your own um, predictability based on your own behavior. So UX, you understand the physical or psychological aspect of the user as well, which obviously AI start training itself into that part. But your prompt, is it sufficient or not? So to me, you can utilize AI for certain process of the UX as a junior UX designer, but as a senior designer, you can draft a better prompt. but for certain exercises, not all of them. So AI misses those emotions, AI misses those predictability of the behavior. They can understand this biasness for the irrational ability and the aha moments, the gain points, the key points, which you saw a brightness, a shyness in the human eyes during your persona and during the decryption of documentation of these data. You can understand that these are the body language of the user. So sometimes that's thing which clearly AI is missing. And then we have a human-machine collaborative future. So what is the human-machine collaborative future we have? So AI can handle the repetitive task, the quantitative task very much. So all of the UX tasks which you needed time, like I mentioned earlier, the journey map documentation, the persona mapping documentation, um, selecting the top five, working with the co-creation, you can utilize very, very easily with the AI things. Imagine AI with the junior researcher, not your strategist. So AI can help you as a junior person, not as a strategist who provides you a strategy. It's your task to provide the strategy. It's your task to finalize the strategy. And the future isn't binary, it's blended. So you give something, the more good information you are providing to the AI, the more good AI results would be there because of its LLM nature and things. Okay. Uh, Now there is some case studies. Like I mentioned that I will come up with a real concrete data. So in we have a lots of startups funding in last 5 years in my country, and those startups have some of them are the big startups and big funding still failure. And I had a session last week, maybe or a couple of weeks before, where I actually provided the information that which startup failed, why, which practices of the UX they're missing. Some of the startups failed just because they start thinking that AI now is our strategist. So they blindly trust on the AI, and AI come up with the completely different thing. So there were the fintech startups who failed with this real-time scenarios where they skipped the real user interviews, and AI missed that fear-based decisions, that when user has a fear, what kind of decision user will take. And the same when the user was in market, they got the funding based on the MVP, they got a huge funding, but based on that fear-based decisions, when users did not use that application based on their fear, and that was the collapse of their application because they didn't knew that earlier. They could have understand, but as they don't have the data earlier, if there would be some user researcher, if there's some UX strategist there, they can tell them that we can understand in a 5 days practice, the design thinking 5 days method, or maybe 10 days, we can understand, and they will understand. But they did not understand that particular part. Instead of this, they asked AI, and AI starting defending itself, changing the patterns, ask them the suggestions, change the UI or the design part, or change a particular page or a shopping cart page or a checkout page. And these information actually collapsed. There was no, it was totally theoretical. There was no sense with the real time users. That was the first real time example where they called me as a strategist, and I saw these loopholes, and I provided that this is the information your users are not taking actions because of a particular fears. And second, there's a healthcare app was succeeded when the AI surfaced the patterns, but researchers led the narrative. So AI, the researchers involved with the AI. We have a different example, not only the health tech, we have a law firm's AI model. We have a different customer support AI models. In those models, what we did, we actually involve AI to provide us the patterns. And based on those patterns, we conduct the user research and the reviews, and those reviews come up with the narratives, and then with those narratives we start working with our initial platform, initial strategy, and then we utilize AI again to fasten our process of the documentation, to fasten the process of building the mapping exercises. So this is a success scenario. So that is about some of the case studies, and there is a guiding principle for the ethical use. So you have to validate AI outputs with the real user voices. In UX, we mentioned iterations and feedbacks. You start with the understanding the user research where you have to start interviews. After that, every exercise, you have to conduct that exercise and get validation from the real users. So your feedback would be real users. An interesting example is there was a Google Wave, very application, such it was such an application by the Google who has multi-million downloads in a single day, and then multi-million uninstallation in the same day. So what happened? I'm not gonna details of that because if someone asks, then I will give the details. But I think because of the shortage of time, you can see the case studies in the internet. So that is where you have to understand. The conclusion of that example is when Google asked user researchers and asked them that why we failed, we have the user, we have the idea, and people love that. We conducted properly user research, said why we failed. So they again did the UX of the UX process and come up with this conclusion that you believe that you are the user. All the usability testing, all the user research done within the organization, with the particular users, or they hired someone in the AI survey or the UX survey websites, and these all are the biased. So you did not get the complete picture. Their user are unstructured, your user are not structured, and wherever when you start interviewing from the people, even then they are the user of that application as well, but they knew the context of the project. They were very much structured, organized, so they didn't get the information of the other kind of users. So that's where they fail. So that is area where you have to make you have to validate with the real user voices. Then you have to prioritize the transparency. Let the user know that AI involved or not, because that is the area where you get the real information from your product and services with the user. And the last is a build team that balance the tech savviness and the human-centered thinking. That's the main problem with many of the startups, many of the businesses. Some businesses have a non-technical expertise, and they are not they might be successful at certain area and particular area of the time, but based on the non-understanding of the technical guys, or non-availability or not inclusion of the technical guys, they starting faded out. So what they did, their next step is they start a digital transformation where they hire some technical guys, and again they have a little boost, but again they lost their market share. What is missing? The human-centered design, either non-technical forms or the technical forms. They need the human thinking or a user voice where someone who has the practices, who has the experience, or who has actually properly certified experts who can consult them, who can document that strategy, execute that strategy, and work with the real user and utilize AI as their collaborative partner, and then build the team based on this. So these are something where you can utilize AI as a collaboration. You should not think that AI is your enemy. You should not think that your job will be replaced. However, you can utilize AI on the quantitative metrics, on the repetitive tasks, because they can work far better and far faster than the normal human being. But in all the qualitative metrics, this is out of the AI aspects because their predictability is not sound. I'm not saying that for the time being, but it's not sound. That's my take, guys. The last is there's a quotation which I developed 2 years back because I'm working in the AI ethical designs with many universities. So AI can map the behavior, but only humans can feel its meanings. In design, data needs a heartbeat. So that was all about my session. I think it's if you have any questions, please shoot, and I will gonna answer your question.
Thank you so much for that wonderful discussion, Zane. So that was a fascinating topic, as mentioned on the earlier part from the introduction itself. So we see AI as a threat, but definitely it is not, definitely. So it depends on how you harness that actual tool for collaboration and for the betterment of your progress. All right. So for any questions from our attendees, please do raise your hand or put your questions on chat. That would be
Sure.
very helpful. So we have uh, currently a question here. With AI playing a bigger role in research now, should universities start teaching UX and design students how to use and collaborate with AI?
Sure. Uh, First of all, thank you very much, Priyanka. Thank you very much, Sanjay, and thank you very much, Razwan. And Sanjay, your question is why AI playing a bigger role in the research now? So AI playing a bigger role in the research now because AI is new thing, right? So if you are start doing your existing method where you start asking your query in the Google or Bing or search engines, and you get the answers based on the data or the peer values of the data and authenticity based on their model of the authenticity, and you get the results. Now you are getting the results much faster. So AI has all the information and they have the predictability option. And that is where AI actually, in the first stage, people welcome it because now they are not using the search engines, instead of they actually using the AI. The second part is after that, what did when the AI start working with the text-based results or image-based results, and now there is a audio or a video-based results as well. So when AI had that power, one thing you understand, the result is outstanding, but mostly what you actually gonna achieve as a pro user, you are not getting answer from the AI. If you want something in your way, it come up with another way. Because it's something new, so you are fascinating and you are welcoming it. After some period of time, when you need something which is a part of a responsibility of the job or your business need, so that is where AI will refine itself, but still it has that shortcoming. So that is where AI has this welcome model in every field. So in the user research, what happened? User research is very technical field, and mostly people avoid that technicalities because there's just so much who will read all this information. So instead of reading that part, they start using AI that, okay, give us the persona. So it come up with persona. So that's a fake persona. So based on that fake persona, they come up with the faking things. As these are fascinating, so they come up with the user research, which normally did 3 months or 6 months. They come up with a 1 or 2 days that, okay, we did complete user research. So that is where they welcome it. And when the business loss based on that prediction and get UX, because the people are using in the amateur way, in the amateur method. So that is what is happening. And should universities start teaching and like everyone now using the AI. So you have to use it right way in the right manner. My complete talk was all about how to use the AI in the ethical way and a collaborative way. Should university start teaching UX and design student how to use and collaborate with AI? Okay, so I am actually already teaching. I'm a teacher at I taught in Beacon House National University here. I taught in Comsets University here as well. So in multiple universities, in multiple organizations, there is already the talks, sessions, and complete courses on UX, human-centered design system practices, and practices of the AI, and how to utilize AI in the design, and what are the ethical in uh, not only till the design, but there is always a session of how to utilize AI in the academia. So for the teacher and for the university itself. So these are all the initiatives which I am personally involved with multiple universities for last 2 years. So that's a complete answer for this. Uh, Rizwan asked, are there skills researchers should learn now to stay relevant in an AI-driven future? Okay, so that's a very great question. Because this question there is nothing about the qualitative in it. So it's a quantitative. You can ask this same question from ChatGPT or Gemini. So you can ask and it come up with a very better answer. However, with the context of your particular country, or your particular area. For instance, I'm from Pakistan and I'm from Lahore. So there is a different context of Pakistan, there's a different context of India, there's a different context of China, there's a different context of USA. Also, every state, every city has a different dimension. So for that part, you can come up with the patterns from the AI, ask this question, you can get relevant, you can get right studies, you can get right skills, and you can get right practices. All these things will come up with you to be relevant in this AI-driven future. And with the context of your areas, you can come up with these pain points, make that question answerable with the UX process as well. That this is what I wanted to do. That's your goal. Based on that goal, you have a direction from the chat GPT, and then implement and then execute. This execution, you should get the feedback. And who will give the feedback? The job market or the business market will give you the feedback. So that's you can implement the UX practices for this as well. This is the answer for Rizwan. And I hope I answered the question, but still, if there's a confusion or you want more details, please shoot the question and I'm here to
All
answer.
right, definitely. Thank you for taking care of that question, Zane. So, if you have follow-up questions, definitely just put it on the chat. All right. So, checking on live right now, we don't have any questions so far. We have Naveed Khan said great session. Thank you for watching the live broadcast on Facebook. Greetings, Naveed. Okay. Anyone else would like to interact with our guest? Okay. So while we are waiting for further questions, we'd like to check, Zane, if you have any future, like let's say online podcast as well. If you have a YouTube channel or anything that you are working on right now that you want people to know.
So basically, what we have a human-centered design bootcamp. So every year it's once a year. This year it's already done in January, February, and March. And mostly I prefer the physical on-location bootcamp where I start and everyone can be participated, even a junior designer, a senior designer. Sometimes a 15 years of experience person was my student in this session. Sometimes it's a very beginner designer who just college passed out, and there was non-designers as well. So that happened in December this year. We'll start the next boot camp. That's about the boot camp. And other than that, I found that interesting question in my Facebook that someone asked. So should I shoot that question here as well?
Yeah, yeah, for sure.
Okay. So someone asked that, do we have any process for this, for the UX, AI-driven UX? Okay, so the process of AI-driven UX, we have to start about the process of the normal UX because it's pretty much same. So in any organization, when you start, either you start the UX from scratch or you were a part in between when there is a product is there and is not working well, or the product is always successful and now it is declining. So wherever the stage is, when you involve in a business, you start with the very first thing is stakeholder mapping. Understand the stakeholders, try to understand what they already did, why they did what they're doing, and based on what information, the concrete information they have. Do they have the opinion or the data, and why they want the UX to implement it, and why didn't earlier? If they did something, what kind of user research they did, and what was the result of it? So that was a possible questions. And you start that stakeholder mapping. One interesting thing is in the stakeholder mapping, you have to conduct the stakeholder mapping interviews separately, one by one, individually, because sometimes if three stakeholders involved, they might not provide you the right information because they think that if I give that information, maybe it will be a different point of view than my boss. So they might not come up with the right answer. So that's the one part. Second part is after sometimes it happened that your stakeholders have a different understanding of the problem and they have a different solution in their mind. So you have to understand individually and then collaboratively, collectively, you understand that. After that stakeholder mapping, you come up with the business vision documentation. What is the business vision? Then you have to start with the UX vision. The UX vision will start with that business vision. And then you come up with the UX strategy. That what is the strategy of the UX? And then implementing that UX strategy need a checklist. The checklist for the collaboration, checklist for the communication, interdepartment, within the department. What kind of the team? Is it a lean UX? It is the design thinking model is implementing, or a complete human-centered design modeling? Or are they focusing the CX or the UX? Or they are just a UI design? If they have a design system implemented or not, do they have a hierarchy of the design system manager, or the system manager, service manager, or the design manager? Or do they have a model of the tech savvy and they need to design a separate or inclusive into the department? So you have to build the hierarchy out of it and then come up with the suggestion. If you need organizational change, there is a theory of change which is called freezing and defreezing technique, that you cannot change everything right away because they already have the users, already have the things. So you freeze 90%, defreeze 10%. Then based on that output, you defreeze next 10%. And after that 10 iterations, you come up with a lots of changes which you wanted output based on the UX maturity. So these are the basic process. The detail is it's a complete session where you can provide that how the UX are implemented, how to understand the UX maturity of any organization, and how to suggest them based on their UX maturity that what to do and what are the steps. The AI model in the UX process is as same as I mentioned, just the areas where needed the repetitive work, where needed the quantitative work, you add the AI right tools and area to improve for that part as well. So that is where you implement the AI. There are other questions as well. Uh, where exactly we should not use the AI for UX? Haris, I mentioned in the session that you should not use anywhere where it needs qualitative results. The qualitative results, by qualitative results, I mean UX vision, UX strategy, business vision. These are the qualitative way. You cannot do that part. You cannot leave that important information based on the data out there. You have to get this information qualitative, one-on-one with your stakeholders. Then your user research, user interviews, these are the qualitative. When you make the decisions on all the exercises, that based on that decision, we have to decide for the next exercise. Uh, because the output of one exercise would be the input of another exercise. Here you need a decision point. So these are the decision points. So I named some exercises that these are the exercises. There are more as well. And this is where you note any qualitative area should not do through the AI, and any quantitative area you should do through the AI. That's the right collaboration and right values you will get.
Alrighty. I hope that takes care of those questions. And thank you for including that question that was given to you on Facebook. All right.
Welcome.
Such a good addition. Okay. So our webinar is near to closing. So anyone who has questions, please post it down on the chat, or you can open your mic if you wish to interact. Or if you have additional inputs or opinions, definitely feel free to do so. It's great to add information.
Hmm. I think it's a pretty much easy till if anyone asks the question through mic. Till then, I come up with another interesting insight. In 2 years back, I have this opportunity to work with academia for
Mm,
AI, and in that part where they come up with the fears of AI, even for the teachers, even for the universities themselves, and for the students. So there was certain point of views. One kind of teachers were actually arguing that we should not allow AI for the students, and we should come up with the very very solid structure which should not allow the AI. There will be another group of the teachers who mentioned that we cannot uh, stop the human evolution. So whatever we have now, we have to deal with it. So I was there, just saw that the both point of views have a fear with the AI. They treat AI as the enemy. So I initiated that process with the dean of the university and other areas, that eventually we should not treat it as an enemy. So, or again, that might be my biasness. I might be biased on that we should utilize AI. So why don't we check this with the users. So first kind of user we had the teachers. The second kind of users we have the people uh, who were not teachers, but in the university, they were into administration role, in the management role. And then there is students. The primary user was a student. So I conducted the interviews with the students, with the new students, with the freshers, or existing in the last year or the third year or fourth year. And after all of these information, all these interviews, I come with this hypothesis. Every student wants to use the AI in either way. If university won't allow them, they still will use through their home. And every teacher wanted to ban it. So what was the middle way? So the middle way would be that we can develop another AI. And what that AI will do, they start doing the ethical AI process. So if the student is trying to copy someone else's information through AI, and AI had the data which is already in the market, and so our system will check that AI, that from where that information come up, and how much it is a unique. Is it just a text unique or is it idea unique? So that is a development of another AI, which would be the ethical, and provide the users or as students to help them that if your idea is unique, it can help you um, to make your assignments done quickly and fastly. Your projects would be done fastly, and there would be a predictability of your exam, your marks, your stuff. So by this way, it was acceptable for the both user types, the teachers and the students. But it did, and earlier we started with the suggestion that we have an incubation center in the universities, then inter-universities collaboration, and then government bodies and the academia could work with the Ministry of the Education. So that was about, again, an initiative of the AI in the design, because our department was the design department of the university, but it accepted as whole universities departments, the business department, the technology department, everywhere it was accepted. So that was one interesting insight, that how people are doing with the AI and how they deal with it in the bigger level, not just a smaller level. And so
Alrighty. So thank you so much for that additional input. So this is really a fascinating topic that we have covered today, and it's very timely. It will always be timely because AI is like it's growing, like it's evolving, it's improving its like usability to each and every one, and in different aspects.
Priyanka,
Definitely.
I want to ask something.
Yes. Go ahead, Harris.
Please.
So can I use the mic?
Yes, you can.
Okay, so this stance of not using AI for specifically the quantitative process, um, which you mentioned, how can we justify when the whole of the tech world and the human evolution, humanity is evolving at such a rapid pace? Because if we leave AI behind and just focus on the human centric approach, which was the classical way, what will be the trade-offs? How do we justify the trade-off of being slow and
Yeah.
not using AI for specifically qualitative
Your name,
data?
your name?
Harris.
Harris. Okay. Harris, very good question. Very good question. So first thing is, uh, it's not a classical approach where you will delay the things or a method is slow. Like for instance, I'm gonna come up with the example. We have to develop a system for lawyers. It was a lawyer management system based on their cases. We have to conduct the exercises with the lawyers. So identification of the problem took us 2 days with the stakeholder interviews, and everything was done in the 2 days. Then we have to understand the real users. They already have to understand that there will be lawyers. Now we have understood that there would be individual lawyers, there are law firms, there are big law firms, and there's a government bodies. We have all this information, which is quantitative. We utilize AI. Within a day, we come up with all this data, and now it's time to filter that data. In the qualitative metrics, now we have to get the interviews from three users each. So we have four segments, three interviews, 12. So all those interviews done within a week, their debriefing done within 2 days, because we uploaded those interviews with the AI platforms, and it automatically come up with a debriefing. And based on that debriefing, we saw their body language, we update that part another week. So 2 weeks. In that 2 weeks time, We have a necessary information and a qualitative information which we needed. All the other information we actually did within a week. So it's a 3 weeks time. I think if you understand the Uber application, which taken 2 years for their user research, we come up with the similar kind of information within 3 weeks. So I don't buy that thing that it is slow. The classical approach is slow. It is a mixture of the approach and it is very fast. If you omit out that human centric part of the qualitative matrices and you only use the AI, you can be done within a couple of days or maybe a 1 day if you are a very hardworking guy. You give all the prompts to AI. So within a day, you get all the information done. The interview take all interviews with themselves, the faking data, the based on the quantity and based on the data out there, and all the predictability they come up. Uh, the product profit and loss will be the project will be automatically got into the loss part because you are very much lower into the part whenever you base a business for the product or a service based on the opinions of the data. You're actually gonna fail you are actually okay to fail that project. So that is my answer. It is not slow, but there is a UX law which you call proximity of area, but you cannot minimize the information at certain level. So that qualitative is the minify part. You cannot give all the information to AI and give that product in their hand. If you do that, uh, God bless you with the failure of the projects, because that's a clear part that you cannot predict based on the quality, based on the AI results, which meant to be the quantitative. You read the AI. What is AI actually? What is LLM? It is based on the data. It is, and they clearly mentioned, we come up with the data which might be biased, which might be unreal. And I have a suggestion for you. Give a same prompt to different AIs. Ask the same question and get the results. Ask them to give you the facts and figures. You can see that every platform will give you a different number. So if the numbers are different where the question is same, this must be a problem. Also, there is another part. If you give a same question repeatedly with the same AI model, it will again come up with the different answers, which clearly means that AI is not answering you correctly, and they give that clearly in their terms and conditions that you have to check the data. It's not our responsibility. Our responsibility is just to provide you something. And that was my talk all about that. I hope I answered the question, but still, if you have a question based on my answer, you can still ask. And Priyanka raised her hand and she might wanted something also.
All right. So, yes, the other one who raised hand, you can use the mic, definitely.
Okay, I think no other question. So if you have any other question, I will be available in the chat, Facebook chat or YouTube, wherever the video would be live, and I will respond there. Okay.
Yes, definitely. So you can, alternatively, you can connect with Zane
Yeah.
on LinkedIn. It's where I first approached him. So he's very approachable. You can just send a connection invite and a message to interact with Zane. If you have further questions or clarifications regarding the topic or anything else that is within his scope of expertise. All right.
All right. Thank you very much and have a nice day.
All right. So that concludes today's webinar. Such a wonderful topic brought by Zane. And thank you so much for accepting the guest speaking invitation again. And hopefully, we can still invite you in the future. Definitely. So, if anyone would like to request like an advancement of this topic or anything that is related to this topic on a different area, let us know. You can put it on the Facebook comments on LinkedIn. And yeah, we'll definitely talk it to Zane in check his availability as well for a different session. All right. So thank you so much, everyone, for being with us in today's webinar. And we invite you again next Wednesday. So 12 noon to 1 p.m. the same time. And make sure to invite your friends and share the recorded session as well. So again, we close the webinar. Take care, everyone, and all the best. Bye for